Hi everyone, it's Bitcoin from the Big Chubowski. I just wanted to make a quick video to show what kind of stuff you could do with the dash render that you may have just gotten to 7 star. If you're in Kyber 1, then around this time period, having bought 3 refreshes a day, you should now have a 7 star dash render. So then the big question is, what do you do with him if you don't have the prepared squad yet? Which is the case for most people who weren't typically whaling a couple of years ago when the solo characters came out. And ever since, there hasn't been a lot of reason to get the team up yet. So now you might have this guy and wonder, what do I do with him? Do I put him in a Beskar Mando team? What exactly am I supposed to do with him? So one idea that I'm sure I'm not the only person who has thought of it, but probably lots of others will have too, is to create this team here, where you essentially make use of Dash's, not his leadership, though his leadership is handy, of his unique Zeta, where the whole team gains 2% turn meter when they are prepared per crit. So if you put together a team of a whole bunch of AoEs, you can effectively create some form of turn meter train that lasts a little bit and does quite a lot of damage. So you essentially force your opponent to have a team that outspeeds it and that manages to gain control over it before it gets going, because otherwise they're going to be in trouble. In terms of modding, it's nothing too complicated. Dash is ideally really fast. You want high crit chance on him so that he obviously crits a lot, because this big move here that cannot be resisted anyway, so you don't need potency. This is really what gets the whole team going, as it's 15 hits in total, times 2% turn meter. That's a lot of speed you're feeding to the whole team there. So mine's just 320. There's lots of people that run him at like 350 or whatever, which is ideally even better, of course, as you also get the leadership bonus. But yeah, you need to have that obviously, and you need to be able to spare the mods if you have priorities around your roster as well, even if you can't get that fast. So this guy ends up at 340 now. I mean, it's still pretty good. It still forces the opponent to use something serious rather than having like a Finn resistance team in the back or something like I've had for far too long. So yeah, you can use this guy, and as mentioned, you want high crit chance on him. I don't know if I showed it, but he's got 89%. Ideally you get close to 100, obviously. Now for the rest of the team, you need someone who's essentially going to bridge the speed between Dash and the others, because Dash by himself is not necessarily going to max your Dengar unless you have a slow Dash or a really fast Dengar. And Boba Fett is a really ideal character for this, because you can quite easily put him around 270, 280 speed, and with his AoE he can then push the turn meter of the rest of the team up there, and he has naturally really high crit chance at 92%. And then the others, like the modding doesn't really matter much. Dengar, ideally, as his usual modding, you want high crit chance as well. So mine has 109, which is nothing like extraordinary or anything, but that's going to allow him to land a lot of crits too, and to then keep your turn meter train going for longer. And Boba and Fennec here, they don't really have anything unusual, not much crit chance, I believe. Boba does actually. But I'll just show you how the team works, and I'm here in the tier 10 of the current Galactic Challenge. I'm just going to put it on auto to give you an idea what happens if this team were to be set on defense, because I do think it's quite likely more useful on defense. So I'll just autoplay it here. You can kind of see what happens. Everyone just maxed from that AoE. Or almost. Boba does an AoE here. Fennec does her AoE. So the AI plays this perfectly, as all the AoEs go out first. The Dark gets triggered there with a counter. And for some reason Boba decides to do a basic. And Dash with the stun as well. Now obviously on their end they have these endless ranks or whatever that buff is, which is what allows them to essentially keep going, because otherwise Veers would already be dead, and probably another character as well. Fennec obviously doesn't have a lot of crit chance, and I'll just go in one more time because the turn meter train of course varies based on like how long you can keep critting. So I think I did like 2 runs before actually recording the video, and one of them they actually got a couple characters down, so that's gonna vary a lot. But typically it's quite consistent, and the goal isn't even really to hold on defense. You're just doing so many AoEs that like they're never gonna recover from this. All the ability block, all of the debuffs they've got on their end. I'll just show here. It's quite extensive, and recovering from that is just really hard, even if you somehow manage to turn this around. And yeah, You can kind of see the team do its work. Boba's AI is the most random. He'll just kind of do whatever moves. But the others will do the same pretty much every single time. Here you even get an assist call, and as you can see the team is now still going, whereas in the first run they already stopped a while back. There's 2 characters down, and who knows, this might actually be a full wipe here. But depends a bit on what Dark does, and he actually goes for a kill here. But there is still days on their end, on a couple of them, so it's hard for them to really get going and do much. But you kind of get the idea, it's nothing too complicated. Once you have a proper team for some of the other characters, then you can use that. But until such a time, this is quite a nice solution, and it just forces your opponent to pull out something fast that can fully stop this team from getting going. Because once Dash is gets his AoE off, you're pretty much screwed. So hopefully this helps you out, gives you an idea of what to do with these characters that you may have gotten up for Starkiller and for Territory Wars, but so far I haven't really been able to put together. And it allows you to keep a Beskar Mando team together. It allows you to keep your bounty hunters under Aura Singh, where you can add Gideon, for example. So that kind of nicely slots in, because you don't really need any of these other characters in those places. So anyway, good luck with your Grand Arena. Hope this helped, and see ya.